Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to ANN American News Network. I'm your host, Vlad. Today, we have a special guest with us, Matt from the Boomerang Podcast. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the topic of the day, I've had him on before. We've done videos before, but usually I say this at the end. I want to say it now. Links down below in the description. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel. I mean, he's had some great people on. Juan 07. You'll find the video. Just go see it. Lumberjack Logic. Big Easy. Great audience. Great podcast. Go subscribe. Show them some love. Now, Matt, thank you for coming on.
Thank you,
Love
Vlad.
doing this with you, brother.
Yeah, always good to be with you, bro. Good to see you.
Yeah, you
too. Here.
Yeah. That was fun. But let's jump right into the topic. 2023 is behind us. Right? The year of the whistleblowers is over, right? This was the year of, what did you say it was?
It's the year of justice.
The year of justice. Now, we saw Hunter Biden come in and try to, all this chaos, but it failed. They voted to hold him in contempt of court, of a subpoena. They are drafting impeachment papers for his dad. We know that for a fact. I reported on it.
Yep.
So everything they've been doing, to stop Trump isn't working. To protect Biden, it's not working. To try to paint the picture of Bidenomics is working. Now they're telling Biden, don't use that phrase. It's not going the way we want it to. Even me, when I want to say the economy is doing bad, I say, well, thanks to Bidenomics. Right? Even we were at Costco a couple of days ago. I'm with my kids. I'm like, look at those prices. That's Bidenomics. And people just started laughing like, yeah. So
it's the first branding.
Yes. That phrase now is like, it's toxic. An embarrassment.
It's an embarrassment.
So we got the caucus, Iowa caucus on Monday. Where do you see we are as a country? Where do you see the election standing today?
It's all Trump. I mean, anybody saying otherwise. I mean, even the polls. I mean, I know the polls showed Trump up a little bit and places like New Hampshire, I think he's up something like 8 points. I bet you he's up 80 points in New Hampshire. I don't believe any of these polls. It's just more misleading data. I mean, look at the polls from 2016 when they had Hillary up. What she was going to win the election. It was like 93% in her favor or something crazy. I think
97-3 on the morning of the election. Trump only had a 3% chance of winning.
3% chance of winning. So I feel like, when you see these polls, like how can you still even go by these things? Why would you even trust his data? Trust nothing. Trust nobody. None of this stuff has any meaning. Trump's going to blow these people out of the water. It's just, the Democrats know this, so they have to, bring these phony indictments, right? These phony court cases. You'd think Trump would be, they thought Trump was gonna go down in the polls when they started bringing these court cases. He's actually going up in the polls, folks. And I only see that trajectory continuing to be the case. So he's unstoppable. Teflon Don.
Yep. So, but we know that not only till the election night and when Trump is declared the winner, but until inauguration, they're going to be doing whatever they can. I think they might go as far as, taking him out. What do you think this year holds for us as the American people? I know right now American and UK forces are just bombing Yemen as we speak, right? So there's another war we're getting involved in that has nothing to do with us. Yes, I stand with Israel. I think they should be able to protect themselves there. Unlike in Russia, it's not something that's been, where both sides, where one side tried to come to the table.
Right.
Here, it's the party that actually tried to, the country that wanted peace was the country that got attacked. There in Russia, it's the country that has been asking for peace, saw no other option because they didn't want peace. But I don't believe we should send weapons, no money. We don't get involved. Do you think they might try to start war just to bring in martial law to cancel an election?
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, what's interesting is they could fake a war. They could do anything, right? It's just optics. So whatever people see in the media is real, unfortunately. And to your first question, what do I see happening this year? Is it's just going to be more escalation of war, right? The military industrial complex. They need everything. They need to do everything in order to distract from what's really going on. And that is Trump's gaining favor. I think you're going to see something with China and Taiwan. You'll probably see Iran start to enter much more obviously into the war drums. So yeah, you're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see more and more states try to take Trump off the ballot. And why? Why do they fear Trump? And why do they call it a retribution presidency? It's very simple. It's because if you look at, for example, the unredacted FISA report, which Trump has never released, that's a very important detail. In that unredacted FISA report, they talk about what? The insurance policy, right? Yeah. And we've been led to believe that the insurance policy was Russian collusion. Oh, we have that. What I think people are going to find, what I've heard, is that you're going to see emails and text messages between the Peter Strzok's of the world, the James Comey's of the world, right? The 7th floor of the FBI building, that the insurance policy was really assassination. So just imagine what would happen if that evidence got out there. That's why I think these court cases are going to work against these people, is because Trump's allowed to enter his own evidence. And now, right, with the media covering everything, because that's really what it's been about, right? It's been about, you can't really get the true story because they're not going to cover what Trump puts out. They're going to cover Fannie Willis. They're going to cover Letitia James. Well, if you start putting in the real evidence into the court documents and enter it through the court through discovery or whatever the process is, you're going to start seeing what's been really going on over these years. And let me tell you something, it's going to frighten people.
Well, maybe people do need to be frightened, right? Maybe that it's very interesting, like where our country, how many people have actually woken up to the corruption, have woken up to the bribes. Today, later, I'm also going to be doing a video on the former Ukrainian prosecutor who was investigating the Bidens. He actually did an interview here. I got it pulled up.
They tried to kill him, right?
Yeah.
They poisoned him. He actually survived.
Yep. So this is a quote from him. There is one united criminal group exists. This group is Biden, Blinken, and Newland. So Newland, I mean, she's
evil,
horrible. Wherever she goes, war breaks out.
She's look at her. She just looks like a demon.
Yeah, and that's exactly what those people are. And man, I wish. See, I think I've said this before. I'll say it again. The CIA, when they toppled the Soviet Union, that was their job. They got bored. And instead of shutting down, they still got all these trillions of dollars, that literally trillions at their disposal to topple governments and make them bow the knee, to take their resources. They got bored. So they said, hey, what can we do for fun? Right? Yeah. And Kennedy was right when he said, I want to take the CIA, I want to bash it into a million pieces and throw it out with the wind. Because he understood 90% of the world's problems, wars, all this is done by them. No one elects them. No one chooses them. They're there for life. Presidents come and go. Senators, congressmen and women come and go. But those guys are there.
And when he said that quote, and when Kennedy said that quote, he was being brought into meetings by the CIA trying to bait him into Vietnam. They had 100,000 troops ready to go. Just all they needed was that presidential order just to say, go get him. And Kennedy refused to do it. He knew it was a trap. And right after that speech, I think it was within 3 months, he was dead.
It's like 99 or 100 days. Yeah. So it's crazy what's happening, but I think we're going to get through this. Now, I want to switch off to, we talked a little bit about the election. What do you think a Trump presidency looks like? I just want why I'm asking this, and is, there's all these retribution and he's going to be a dictator. His town hall with Fox from 2 nights ago, man, I think that was the best I've ever seen Trump. He was great. Cool. Yep. He was cool, calm, collected, presidential, professional. Now, and Trump has a
Still funny as
character.
hell. And still
Yeah.
funny as hell.
Funny, yep. And him and I have a very similar character. You get one at a time, right? You don't get all of it. I'm either cool, but I'm not collecting, right? But he was presidential. I mean, he blew it out of the water, and they said, "Are you going to be a retribution president?" He said, "The best retribution
It's success.
is to get success for America." I
Yeah.
love that. But what do you think will happen? How will it go?
I think it depends how you look at it, but in a lot of ways, it will be a retribution presidency. But retribution for all the treason and sedition that these people have committed. In other words, they're just projecting their crimes onto Trump. That's what these people are guilty of, right? The Ukraine, right? The phone call with Ukraine, and the pay for play, or the phrase that they use in the media, quid pro quo, right? That's what Biden was doing, not what Trump was doing. He was just seeing what was going on. He just wanted to understand, hey, do we have corruption here? What was right? Tell me about what's going on, Zelensky, right? And the perfect phone call. What a Trump presidency, I think, looks like is it's not going to happen until, we're so controlled by the deep state, and they know that if Trump gets back into office, they all go to prison. Okay. They're not going to allow that to happen. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to do whatever it takes. They're going to definitely tear down the financial system, in my view. Right. They're going to tear down anything. The deep state's in control of everything. I actually just wrote an article for George Magazine about this, but the deep state literally controls everything. Okay. And if you think you're going to get out of their system and into what Trump's really trying to do is restore the republic, right? That's what he's really doing during his presidency, is he was setting the stage for this time. These people are not going to go quietly into the night. Okay. They're going to tear down anything and everything they possibly can. Right. Which is also why it's important to own gold and silver. Right. If I can give myself a plug here. So I think Trump's presidency, from what I hear from people like Juan, is that Trump's not going to be back until this country goes into bankruptcy, and Trump will walk this country through bankruptcy. And who better to do it? Yeah. Right? That's what I'm hearing. So I don't think Trump's just going to win the next election. To my understanding, 2020 is not over yet. And I think what 2024 will prove is that they're going to have to go to such lengths to cheat. It's going to be so blatant. We're probably going to take 2 months just to get an election result from 2020. And by that time, people are going to be like, all right, something's going on, right? Even your most brainwashed liberal is going to sit there and be like, all right, this is a little weird. And at that point, I could see a scenario where, maybe the military has to step in, right? Maybe we have to go back to, maybe that'll force the hand to paper ballots, right? We have a one-day election, all paper ballots, boom, Trump's the winner instantly. Right. And at that point, the deep state's pretty much defeated, because now all Trump has to do is present the evidence that he's been holding on to all these years, bring these people to court, and just let the justice system play out. And in the process, you restore the justice system by putting these people in prison. And I'm not just talking the politicians. I'm talking a lot of these judges like Ergodon or whoever this guy is in New York. This guy is, I've heard what this guy's into. You probably have heard too. Mm-hmm. This guy sounds like a real sicko. Yeah. And that's who's running the country. That's who's running the courts. Sickos, blackmailed sickos. So I don't think Trump's just going to win an election and everything's going to go back to normal. I think the systems, many systems, not just the financial system, but a lot of different systems will be torn down and broken apart. But the good news is from chaos comes order. And who better to bring order than a law and order president like Trump?
No, I want to kind of dive into, as you're saying this, dive into a spiritual side, because we understand everything that we see in the physical happened in the spiritual first, and then it manifests itself physically, right? Mm-hmm. So first we pray for someone, and then we see results. So it happens in the spiritual, then it comes, right? God created in Genesis chapter 1, God created heaven and earth and everything. And so why is he creating it in chapter 2 again? If you read chapter 1 and 2, it's like he created it once, and then why are you creating it again? Because in the first chapter, he created it on the inside, in the spiritual realm. Then he created it in the real world.
Right.
Many prophets, many powerful. Now, again, I'm very skeptical of prophets. But the ones I trust, the ones who know personally, and I know these people, they don't, every time they get, well, the Lord says, right? No. These people you barely ever hear of. But even the Kingdom Domain conference I was at, And this really relates. The word was nonstop by a guy from Europe that flew in to minister. There were from all over the states, a pastor from Ukraine, another pastor from Russia. They all came with the same message, and many of them don't know each other. They were just speaking the same conference. They said the Lord right now is calling people to really prepare yourself, like pray, seek Him, and stand strong, because soon the time is coming, very soon, when the whole system of the world is going to be shaken. My friend Andre, who I shared with you before, he's not like a prophet, but sometimes he gets word from the Lord. And he actually, one evening, he spoke and he said, the system of our money, the system of our governments, this everything, it will be changed. It's going to be radical. It's going to be fast. He said we won't have the time to blink how quick everything is going to change. The world as we know it right now will not be this world in just a couple of years. It's going to be radical. It's going to be fast. He said, and unless you are grounded in truth, you're going to be just looking at everything and you're going to lose your mind. Right? And so all of them and then another guy came and he said, the world is about to be shaken. Everything you know, everything you trust, the system is going to be shaken to the core. It was just one after the other, right? And they fly in like in the morning of the day they're supposed to preach. So they didn't hear the last night's sermon, but he comes out and says the exact same thing the guy said last night. Prepare yourself. So as you're saying this, and we're seeing that men and women of God are saying the same thing, that God is telling them, hey, there's shifts in the spiritual, get ready for it in the physical. And again, we go back to Kim Clement. He prophesied about this. He prophesied about people are going to say, what? What do you mean we have two presidents? That still blows my mind, right? But it's interesting.
Trump holding or Biden holding the executive and Trump holding the commander-in-chief.
Yep.
It's rumored that on March 29th of 2021, Trump was read in as commander-in-chief.
Yeah. I heard stuff like that. I saw I ran across a very weird video maybe 2 or 3 months ago. I think I shared this with you when I was in Phoenix, when I was at your house. This guy who was promoted to like a general, and he gets in his car and he starts recording and he's like, me and a couple of my buddies, right, out of like a couple thousand, only a few of us actually made it. Like, it's very difficult to, I don't remember what it was. He's like, but we always get a letter of congratulations from the president. And he's like, it's 2023. Joe Biden didn't sign this. He's like, I'm not joking. He shows it. It's Trump's signature for this. And the video disappeared in under 24 hours. It was deleted. I couldn't find it. I saved it. I think it was on TikTok. I saved it. It was gone. Deleted. The account was gone.
Yeah, well, we spoke on our last episode, and I had told you an account that I've heard is that, and Jan Halper Hayes, who I referenced in our last interview, she said that Space Force has been tracking elections for, a couple of years now. They have all the evidence. They have all Trump has an airtight case about 2020. I'm not even worried about it. It's timing, right? They say timing's everything.
Yep.
What happens when Trump enters that data from Space Force showing foreign interference in the elections, right? I heard that a lot of our votes were counted in China in 2020. What then? Who's going to, right? It's just the facts. It's the evidence. People are just going to have to accept it. But I think you need to see more breakdown of the country first in order to wake people up. And then they'll be more accepting of that information. Yeah. But yeah, Trump has all the data. I'm like, none of this stuff, like I would just tell your audience is like, when you see Trump being taken off the ballot somewhere, don't stress. Don't stress about any of this stuff. Get involved where you can, but don't let the news or any of these stories, even on the conservative, great sites like the Gateway Pundit, right? Or, if you like Breitbart, don't let any of this stuff get to you. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, and things will turn out well. But
financially, right?
Financially, yep.
Midas Gold Group mentioned Vlad.
Yep. Midas Gold Group mentioned Vlad, mentioned that you saw this in particular. But yeah, and I'll just talk a little bit about gold and silver. What gold and silver is just money at the end of the day, right? It's just a way for you to take possession of your money. When you see banks closing, right? We saw, I think, 5 or 6 banks last year closing. That's going to continue to be a trend, right? And something else that people don't talk about is all these, major banks, Bank of America, Chase Bank, Citi, right? They're closing locations left and right. Why are they doing that? In my view, it's because they're going to try to make it very hard for you to have access to your actual money, right? When the time comes, when they want to pull they know when they're going to pull the plug, right? They're going to pull it at a time of their choosing, right? You're not going to be able to access your money. And I think where gold and silver comes into it, if I think about this, I've kind of run my brain through the scenario a bunch of times, is you're going to need a confidence builder. No one's going to trust their banks. No one's going to trust their government at a certain point. So how are you going to build back that confidence and trust? With physical, right? With tangible, right? These politicians, they stripped out our money over the last 100+ years. They stripped out the gold and silver very slowly. They did it without anybody noticing. And what did they do once the gold and silver was completely out of circulation? Wars, right? We started getting into debt. We're passing $4 trillion spending bills. I mean, what are we spending $4 trillion on? They call it an omnibus bill. Like, who makes up these terms? It's ridiculous. So these people are just squandering your money. And think of your money as your life energy, right? What these people are is they're Satanists, right? To our conversation about kind of what you were talking about before. These people are Satanists. And what they're after is, it's not just your money. They look at your money as for what it is, and that's your life energy. They want to take your life energy from you. Don't let them do it. Get your money into something tangible, wait it out. I don't think people are sitting in gold and silver for very long, but I think in the future, it'll be the difference between having money and not having money, or being greatly devalued.
Yeah. And so I've been getting, we're going to finish it off with this question. I mentioned before to my audience on a live, and I've been getting a lot of emails about this. So, Juan07, when do you think we're going to have him on?
I will get in contact with him. He's a very busy guy. I try to not bother him too much because, his time is very valuable. But I could tell you one, if you look at, if you want to know if he's legit or not, just look at the Trump rally recently with Roseanne Barr, right? The mystery man that was there with Roseanne was Juan, right? The artwork I have in here, it's all Juan07 and Jennifer Mack. I try not to bother these people too much, but I would like to get him on because I'd like you, Vlad, to be able to maybe direct some questions at him, because he'll give you some really great insights, and he's very fluent with the biblical side of this as well. And I think a lot of that will resonate with you. So I'll keep you posted on that, but let's try to do it in the next couple of weeks for sure.
All right. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, down below in the description, go subscribe to Matt's podcast. Also, if you're considering protecting your money with physical gold, silver, precious stones, Midas Gold Group, all
metals.
that info is down below. What?
We don't do precious stones, just the precious metals: gold, silver, platinum, palladium. Yeah, we got
stones, metals. They all come from under the ground. They're all precious, right?
They are precious, yes.
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, go subscribe to his podcast. Show him some love. He's got a great episode with Juan on there. You don't want to miss it.
It'll tell you a lot about, it'll tell you a lot about the financial system, but I just wanted to let you know that. So thank you, Vlad. Good to see you.
Thank you, brother.